I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power, designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
The Mario Rosenstock Podcast with On Ice, Ireland's premium ice skating experience, where winter memories are made. Visit onice.ie.
GoLoud. Sounds better with us.
Coming up on this episode of the Mario Rosenstock Podcast.
It's an amazing Bob Dylan song. So Roy Keane stood up in Lilly's Bordello and he went...
I'm going to cut across you after the second line and I'll tell you what happened.
Listen to these words. You've got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend.
And then at that moment, he pointed at everybody with his hand, just right across the room, and pointed at everybody. And he said, "Yeah, sure.
Bastards?
Stronger than that.
Effers?
Yeah.
My special guest on today's episode is one of Ireland's big Eurovision success stories. He has a weekly slot on Newstalk's Pat Kenny show called The Lyrics The Thing, and he has some brilliant behind-the-scenes celebrity stories from the heyday of Dublin's nightlife. So as you can imagine, Paul Harrington is a great man to have on a podcast like this. And as you probably also know if you've been listening to my podcast over the last few years, I love talking about music. I don't know that much about music, but I love stories behind songs. I love stories behind the arrangements of certain songs and how certain songs came to be. And I love nothing more than a deep dive chat with someone who loves it just as much as I do. And Paul is that man. So in this episode, we get stuck into the backstories behind some great songs, his favourite Eurovision hits, in case you didn't know. Paul and Charlie McGettigan won the Eurovision in 1994 with Rock and Roll Kids, some juicy behind-the-scenes stories from the VIP room in Lilly's Bordello, and memories of our mutual friend, the late, great Tony Fenton.
Yeah, you have to do that. Here we are now with Paul Harrington. Paul Harrington, a good friend of mine, and the show that Lyrics The Thing. And this is about a clot in Paul's artery. It's called pulmonary embolism.
As the fella says, the clot thickens. It's a joy.
It is, yeah.
But it's like no other feeling. But it's also like no other responsibility. And I suppose that's why I'm saying in the context of I don't want to be scared to death. You know, I want to live as full a life as I can, just to be present.
I went missing for like 10 minutes or whatever. And I came back and Vincent said, "Do you know what you were doing?" And I went, "Yeah, I was over there with those guys." "Do you know who that is? The guy that you were sitting on his knee." I went, "What guy?" And he said, "That's the monk." Just for the purposes of drama for my listeners.
Sure.
Did you nearly die? Because I just definitely want to include that because it drags in listeners.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's do that again then. Oh, is that an edit, is it? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Did I nearly die?
It's no good if you didn't nearly die.
Oh, no, well, listen, of course I did.
My full chat with Paul Harrington coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. And while I have you, make sure to check out Paul's social channels to find out more about his upcoming live shows of The Lyrics The Thing live on stage, an event I will really, really make an effort to be there at. It's Wednesday the 8th of April in the Cork Opera House, 13th of May in the National Concert Hall, Dublin. And I understand tickets are already selling fast. It's guaranteed to be a great night. Okay, comedy-wise, where are we going? Of course, there was a general election. Now, forget about Heather and Catherine. What about outgoing President Michael D. Higgins? Did we enjoy him? Will we ever see his like again? And what's he going to do next? In fact, what's he even doing now?
Yes, indeed. You've reached the voicemail of outgoing President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins. Please leave a message. Thank you.
Hello there, Michael D. It's Minister Pascal Donoghue here. I would like to thank you for your service to this country. You will be missed and appreciated as a great statesman. And the other thing I wanted to say is, you just listen to me, you little toe rag.
I tell you, I won't miss you banging on from your high horse about your communism and your Marxism and what a shit job and me and me mates were doing in Leinster House. I'll see you around town in your civvies, right?
But till then, have a great retirement. Thank you very much.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for your call there the other day. This is John from Sherry Fitzgerald Lettings. Unfortunately, I'm really struggling at the moment to find you a gaff at such short notice. The rental market is seriously overheating right now. I don't know if you noticed, but I do have a 2-bed duplex in Balbriggan, if that's of any interest. Now, I know it's a bit away from your ideal location, but unfortunately there aren't actually any houses or within the Phoenix Park, in environs. So aside from a couple of big ones there, which you might know, but it's a lovely duplex right beside a Centra, gorgeous Chinese takeaway. They don't allow pets, so unfortunately your dog Broad, is it Broad or Broad? That Gail Gowden, not very good at the Irish. We'll have to find somewhere else to live, but there is a good, I think, a kennel nearby that we could throw in. It's $8,000 a month, if that's okay, and 2 months rent up front, so that's $16,000. And actually, the third month rent in advance is $24,000, if you don't mind, before you even start paying anything. I think it's a pretty tasty option. Thanks. Good luck. Give me a call.
How are you? Ray Darcy here. Well done. 14 years. You outlasted me. Joke. Looks like we're both out of a job now. So I was thinking, how about we team up and start a podcast together? Jenny is giving me the heave-ho on the old podcast front, so we'll call it Darcy and D. Higgins. And we'll record it while running laps around Phoenix Park. I'll be doing that anyway every Saturday morning. So chat about all sorts of things. Lots of free time on my hands. Porridge, hake, anything to do with discipline. You'll probably want to throw in some stuff there about, I don't know, Trotsky, Stalin, those fellas, Irish, language. Not my bag, but knock yourself out. Give us a call.
And brand new comedy every week on the Mario Rosenstock podcast. And you can contact me personally, mariorosenstock@gmail.com. For anything you want to know. If you want to suggest a guest, give me some compliments, some constructive criticism. If you have some ideas for sketches or new characters that I might create or put on the podcast for you. Meanwhile, our thanks to, of course, our great sponsor, On Ice, Ireland's premium ice skating experience. It returns this season. It was our sponsor last season as well. And it's bringing back the magic of ice skating nationwide this festive season, with locations in Dundrum and Swords in Dublin, Marina Market in Cork, as well as locations in Waterford and Limerick. Enjoy Ireland's #1 festive and family entertainment this Christmas. Grab your tickets now at onice.ie. So let's meet him, my special guest on this episode, musician, singer-songwriter, and Eurovision winner, of course, Paul Harrington. Now, before we got talking about the lyrics of the thing around the Eurovision, I wanted to get some behind-the-scenes stories from when Paul used to play the piano and have sing-songs in the VIP room in Lilly's Bordello. That Lilly's Bordello, of course, was that sort of library room at the top of Lilly's Bordello. It was kind of VIP area where if you're anybody at all in the media, you could sneak up, and Valerie Rowe used to be there managing the place. And a wonderful woman who subsequently passed on called Jean, who used to be the manager and who we all gave absolute hell to. And God love her and God rest her, the lovely Jean. And so it was an amazing place to be and some great times, and you'd see people like Dunphy and everything knocking around every week. So anyway, he started telling me about one particular night when none other than Roy Keane was convinced to get up and sing a song with him at the piano. That's where we joined the conversation.
You know, there was a night where he basically, which I let him at it, he did a roll call. We just got everyone up, you know, for Roy Keane, Toffel and Niall Quinn.
All right, I've got to stop you there. Because like I can't let you say the words Roy Keane without going, what the hell happened there?
Well, he was one of the last to get up and sing. But I'll take you back to.
I'm guessing it's after 2001, is it? Is it after Holland, 2001?
Yeah, it was exactly. That's exactly right. I think they either all came in on a charter flight or something like that. I can't remember what, but I do know that sitting now. I will conflate certain nights, but sitting together was John Giles and Liam Brady, which was great. They were kind of to my right at the piano. Standing tall, I know there was Niall Quinn. I think Jerry Kelly was around down from the Kelly show. There was all sorts of excitement. Roy Keane was definitely there. And anyway, so I managed to get Liam Brady to do Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, which was great. Giles came up and did Don't Cry For Me, Argentina.
Did he?
Yeah, which was fantastic.
Because the other song I've heard him doing is I left my heart in San Fran. Francisco.
Oh, that could take a while.
And he's a real crooner.
I said, go, listen, and a nicer man you won't meet.
Back in the day, they would have said, John can sing.
Oh no, one voice. But there was, because as you know, he's diminutive, and of course he was kind of beside Niall. There was everyone, because Niall sang the Sleeving Him On and all that jazz.
Yes, of course.
But anyway, they all started to kind of goad Roy to try and get him up. Now I had a book on top of the piano. It was a music book. It was a Bob Dylan songs, but I think I got one or two things out of it, but I really used it as a what do you call it, as a folder for some of the music I had. So he kind of, now I can't, and I'm not going to attempt to do, but when he kind of came up beside me, so he kind of looked at the book.
I'll do it. What did he say?
He
said something like what?
He said, what's in that? He said,
what's in that at the end of the day?
Yeah, like what's in? I said, what's in one? And
credit to crooners. What's in that at the end of the day? What's in the book? What's in the book? What's in the book?
Exactly. And so I handed him the book, and he kind of opened it up, and he kind of pointed it. He said, I'll have a go at that one, you know.
Yeah, I'll have a go at that one.
Yeah, and that happened to be a tune called Positively 4th Street. Is that what you're after called? Oh my God.
Because I'd heard the story before.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know it, I wondered, was this story true? And it is true.
Oh, no, it's 100%.
Roy Keane sang Positively 4th Street.
He did. And it was thankfully I was familiar with it to play it on the piano, because I'd worked towards it. But are you going to have a go?
No, I'll tell you why I'll have a go. I'll have a go for my listeners because of the words. And why Roy Keane would sing this song. Listen to the words. It's an amazing Bob Dylan song. So Roy Keane stood up in Lilly's Bordello and he went...
I'm going to cut across you after the second line, and I'll tell you what happened.
Listen to these words. You've got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend.
And then at that moment, he pointed at everybody with his hand, just right across the room, and pointed at everybody, and he said, "Yeah, sure.
Bastards? Wankers?
Stronger than that.
Effers?
Yeah.
When I was down, you just stood there grinning. You got a lot of nerve to say you got a helping hand to lend. You just want to be on the side. That's winning.
Correct.
It's about fakeness.
Well, yeah.
It's about hypocrisy.
That would kind of irritate him, all right. Yeah.
I think that is hilarious.
Oh, no, it's great. It's great.
How did Robbie get up?
Robbie Keane.
Yeah, because he knows the sound of his own voice.
He does Rock and Roll Kids. That was his masterpiece, or his party piece. I'm sure he must have on the night. I can't remember, because there were so many nights where. As I know, there was nights at one point where I would have a small band set up, and again, this may not have been that night, but I know there was an Alan Kelly involved who played drums at one point with us, when Ronnie Wood would join us with guitar and stuff like that. And look, they were madness days and chaos days, but brilliant. I mean, there's nothing that I'm aware of that like it nowadays.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, well, you know, my son Dash, he's 18, and he says, Dad, there are no nightclubs. You used to talk to me about nightclubs.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, we used to always go to nightclubs. And I said, did you?
That was, I mean, I used to go to them until I worked in one.
But he says, is this because you were young? And I went, no, I went because there were nightclubs.
Because they were there, yeah.
Right, so like, even in our place around here or whatever, we would have gone to, I remember there was a brilliant club in the Gaiety Theatre called Club Velour.
Don't remember
upstairs in the Gaiety, huge, really plush, nice, lots of music.
You're younger than me,
right? Then we might go to Reynard's.
Oh yeah,
but next door to Reynard's at 3:30 in the morning, we'd head down to George's Bistro.
Now there's a place that it all began there back in the 80s. I remember a friend of mine called Kieran Burke kind of set it up with George Sabongi, an Egyptian living in Ireland.
George,
you know George, George,
yeah,
and he again, it was the only place, and there was people used to kind of come in from the Dáil. That was the.
But we used to go to Joy's as well.
Yeah, Joy's.
Joy's would be Eamon would be in Joy's until 6 in the morning.
And you know, it's funny. I remember Dunphy and Giles coming in to. Or no, I remember John Giles coming in to George's late, saying he was after kind of he kind of got fed up with Eamon. He said it was, you know, he said. We were having dinner, and he kept getting up and down. He was just flower potting all over the place. You know?
What's that?
Whatever, I don't know what that meant, but I presume
love that
kind of
word.
social butterfly.
Oh,
but
yeah,
flower potting was the
sowing
term.
seeds, maybe, or
Whatever but that was his term anyway.
Yeah.
And he said, I got fed up, so he came in there and he was on his own, having a drink. He'd been with him earlier on, but
my last memory, my one big memory of, I'd often see when I would go to Joy's, Eamon there, but my biggest memory of Joy's was going to Joy's with Vincent Brown and the economist Konstantin Gurdjieff, and I was flying. And I went. Yeah, Konstantin Gurdjieff.
Yeah, the dark.
He was a dark-haired Russian economist,
the spy,
who became kind of what do you call? He came kind of nationalized in Ireland, so that he was talking to Vincent like that. Jesus, Vincent, where the fucking inflation is terrible in Ireland. And that sort of stuff. And he sounded a bit like the meerkat of the meerkat.
That's it. It's the same guy. I thought it was him.
Yeah. So I went off. I went missing for like 10 minutes or whatever. And I came back and Vincent said, "Do you know what you were doing?" And I went, "Yeah, I was over there with those guys." "Do you know who that is?" And I went, "Who?" "The guy that you were sitting on his knee." I went, "What guy?" And he said, "That's the monk." I had gone up to this group of lads who were drinking champagne and looking surprisingly sober.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I started taunting them, kind of going, la 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 la. I was flower potting.
Flower potting.
"Oh, how are you, buddy?" And he was there, "Grand, boy." And I sat on his knee to try and cheer him up. I didn't even know it was the fucking monk.
He sounded like a calf that time. Brilliant. Oh dear God!
I'm running for election.
Well, I'm
running for election.
I'm glad we didn't.
You're like a wasp, Paul Harrington. You're like a wasp. So yeah.
I'm glad we didn't get to talk about what we said we would, but that doesn't matter, which is great.
But this is amazing. So anyway, yeah. So that thing. So let's get back to this. So Keane sang Positively 4th Street, and this is, of course, we're talking about music and lyrics. The thing. So lyrics. The thing. Tell me what the lyrics. The thing is. Tell our audience.
Every Tuesday, it's a slot on the Pat Kenny Show. Something we came up with some years ago. I started coming into Pat in the early days. I would have done an RTE as well, but it means when he moved here, I would say he was only here about a year, and I got a call to come in, and we started to try and introduce something that was music and chat. So I even used to leave a keyboard here on the premises, and we'd do it, live, and so we did things like one-hit wonders, we did things like music from movies, all that sort of thing. And anyway, time went on, it developed into this thing called The Lyrics, The Thing, which is it wasn't really the story behind the song so much as it was, because one of the first songs we did was We'll Take Manhattan, We'll Take Manhattan and Staten Island too, and this was where Pat was kind of.
So that's Ella.
So yeah, Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah,
we'll take Manhattan, the Bronx and Staten Island too.
So see the way you said the Bronx and Staten.
It's funny going to the zoo.
That's it. Perfect.
The great big city's a wondrous joy, just made for a goyle,
and a boy. Yeah. Or was it a boy and a goyle?
We'll take Manhattan. We'll turn Manhattan into an isle of joy.
Isle of joy. That's it. But I mean, so it was looking at this. That was the very first one we did 6 odd years ago, and it was to analyze how stuff was written. So it started that way, and then of course, pandemic struck. Anyway, that's what it was. And at that time, Pat said to me, "Look, is there any danger we could do one a week?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure we can." And I suppose we refined it, and it is kind of, some weeks it's the story behind the song. Sometimes it's just things that, like for example, today we did, because of the weather, we did Autumn Leaves, right?
Justin Hay? No,
that's
Forever Autumn.
This is Autumn Leaves. Now I have to go back. How far? It's 50s.
Okay, 50s. Right.
Anyway, again, it was an instrumental. This started its life as an instrumental. French, Hungarian composers, and it, to this day, it's still the only piano instrumental to ever have hit the #1 spot in I think it was in America, in the Billboard charts.
Oh,
and it came over to the US. Johnny Mercer then got a hold of it, and because they wanted to present it to the American audience, he wrote an English lyric, basically, because it was Les Feuilles Mortes, so the dead leaves.
Dead leaves, yeah.
Anyway, it was a much darker thing. Anyway, you sometimes you'll talk about that, or we could have been doing a song like a couple of weeks ago. We did a great tune called "It's Magic," Doris Day. Yeah. So I might just, look at a different angle. The fact that she really was never intended to be a singer. She was, her whole life was a dancer, to be a dancer, and it just all ended in a moment in a car.
Interesting. And actually, when people, because I'm very interested in the beautiful female voices.
Yeah.
And like, so I could name a few that I like, right? So like, I would go, Karen Carpenter.
That's one of the most incredible voices ever.
Ella,
yeah, of course, yeah.
I would go Whitney. I would go something like Dusty Springfield.
Yeah.
And I would include Doris Day in that. It turns out that, you say it was inadvertent, but it turns out she had one of the most amazing female voices, I think.
Almost by accident. And funny, she studied Ella while she was in hospital because she was listening to, and Ella was kind of emerging, being played a lot on the radio. Of course, she had the radio in the hospital room and was listening to this at all times. And again, she was already on her way to Hollywood. She was going there as part of a dance troupe because they just signed a contract with an agency that would place these dancers into movies and movies mainly. And of course, they literally went out to, how they celebrated in those days was they went out for a drive, go for a Coca-Cola or whatever to the local diner. Anyway, ploughed into a freight train at a level crossing, and that was the end of that. No dancing for her. But what a voice! I mean, when you think about it, one of the most beautiful voices. And the movie it was from, I can't think of the name now. It was Hijinks at the High Seas or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But I just watched the clip of her doing this, and she was such a powerful. When you combined her presence. Great voice.
Exactly. And something, when you hear Doris Day's voice, you think, and Karen Carpenter's, you think, that's the America that I love. There's something in their voice, you can hear America.
Yeah.
But the America that I love.
Oh, yeah. Not today.
No.
It was only
the class, the caring, the style, the hope, the pizzazz, the sex appeal, the warmth.
And it was also full of possibility.
Yeah.
And that's what you hear, and this, you can do anything, go anywhere.
Yeah.
They encapsulated the so-called American dream. Now I know, it's as you work in this kind of industry over the years, you realize that everything isn't what it seems on a television screen or whatever it might have been. But I was only chatting with Pat this morning about it, saying, God, it's just awful now, this feeling when you think of America and what we once thought of, and just the idea
of America. Yeah, the idea of America now is an American president doing an AI video of himself in a jet fighter, launching sewage and shit onto the American people. What the hell has?
And it would appear that they're grabbing it and stuffing it in their faces. It's insane.
Yeah.
Your American presidents, whatever about being cut off mic, but like not caring, using the F word or whatever.
But it's so funny. You come from the musical industry, and this is an art, and it's an artistic industry, and it's artistic people, and it's just ridiculous how many of these people would completely disdain what they are seeing. And I don't mean that, the listener might think, oh, Mario's one of them lefties and they're all lefties out there in this art thing.
You can't go anywhere. You can't say.
But it's not that. It's not that. It's not that they're all lefties. Music and art and comedy comes from an initial place of empathy. You must put yourself in other people's position. You must emotionally understand other people to make art, to make comedy, to write books, to write music. And anybody who truly tries to listen to another person or understand them or get into their shoes is a lefty at heart. In other words, you care about people.
And you're connecting.
Is woke.
It's you have to connect.
Everybody who's good is woke. Well, for God's sake. The way that word has been completely mismanaged.
I still don't quite know what that is.
So you care about somebody. Oh, you're woke. Jesus, what have we become?
I don't know. I'm still trying to get used to something being sick. That's good. So there you go.
So in other words, people in the industry, of course, they disdain Trump because they are the kind of people who come from a background that tries to emotionally understand other people. I mean, even the music there the other day, the guy's music that was used. Oh yeah, highway to the danger zone in the thing. He's just completely come out and said, no permission was given me but asked for me to use that song, and now my reputation is suffering because of it.
Nobody cares. You see, what this has done is this has started the kind of the whole what I feel, even looking at Ireland today, a kind of a creep culture where all the basic civic things are starting to slowly kind of, I won't say disintegrate, but starting to dement a bit. And look, this might seem like a very small thing, but I was walking down Grafton Street earlier, and I was still holding my elbow when I got here because a guy on a power bike hit off me, right? And I kept walking, and I just looked at squad car and a couple of guys, couple of guards chatting away, and I was going to walk over and say, just as a matter of interest, is this not a pedestrian zone? Or did you happen to see the guy that went by at about 60 miles an hour there on this bike? And then I said, no, I'm just going to sound like a crank. And everything seems to be okay. I personally would love to see a lot of retraining going on. A little bit, as in, start correcting the basic steps. I mean, I can remember years ago, my wife is, at the time she was a school teacher, now she's a principal, God bless her, and but I remember she was correcting exam papers and stuff like that, and reading essays, and she was kind of getting frustrated with the spelling, and I said, well, what? I said, just put a red X through the whole thing and rip it up. That's insane. If they can't spell, what are they? And she said, well, no, this was a whole new way of it better that they get the information down and, however they can do it. But in my opinion, and maybe it's just the way I was reared and brought up, is that like, if you don't get those building blocks right, you're in deep trouble. You really are. And it's like, if I don't read a huge amount, but if I do read, I always, if there's a word I don't understand, I stop. If I can't figure it out contextually, I'll look it up. So it helps me understand the overall thing. And I think there's too much laziness around. I mean, sure, look, it's only one red light. Then what?
I came off the Gaiety the other night, right? 3 nights in the Gaiety. I came out the Gaiety, and first time pretty much ever, I asked my security, the security guy with my promoter, if he wouldn't mind walking me up to the taxi rank, because I swear I've just had kind of sticky experiences coming out of the theatre late at night, which I used to have 10 years ago, and it's not so much that there's an air of threat around the place. It's more that you are conscious that you are potentially liable for a random act of violence, which is the thing that really worries me. These random acts. Yeah. It's for no reason. It's unprovoked. Yeah. So a guy can just come up to you, right? Like go by on your bike and actually whack you. Yeah. And you're going, where did that come out of? You could hit the pavement and hurt
look, you might get a scratch or a brain injury.
Exactly, you might hit your head off the thing.
Or gone, it's for me, it's menacing. I'm a bit older now than I was, so I feel it more. I feel a little bit more vulnerable. Sure. I cycle in and out every week into town. And it's I'm kind of going, God, this is I mean, how I'm not stoned by the time I get to Newstalk from inhaling. Just hash everywhere. I'm just
yes,
and it's funny. I was in North America recently, earlier in the summer, and a part of it that I really love, a place called St. John's in Newfoundland, gorgeous part of the world. But I really found the waft of hash everywhere quite off-putting. I mean, look, my kick was to go in and have the few Guinness and all that sort of thing. But each to their own. I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing this. But
I'm going to go all Mussolini on your ass now because you see, I love perhaps my favorite city in the world is Rome.
Okay.
And one of the things I love doing, one of the reasons I love being in Rome is I feel really safe walking around there.
You do what the Romans do.
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And we all do. And so you drop in here, you drop in there, Piazza Navona, and all the beautiful squares and everything. But one of the things I noticed in Rome is there's a good few tanks just on the side streets with lads with gigantic biceps and Armalite rifles. And I'm just going, that's why there's nothing happening on the streets of Rome, because those lads are standing there and they don't intimidate me at all.
No, don't bother me at all. Sure, listen,
They're not intimidating. They just stand there.
I was in Paris 2 weeks ago with my little one for her birthday, and we're standing outside the refurbished Notre Dame Cathedral, and there's people are armed to the teeth there. They have been for many years. That doesn't bother me at all.
It doesn't bother me at all.
That's
different.
Be a shocking thing for one of them to.
Yeah, but that would be a different situation to patrols of ICE on the streets of Washington trying to rip people out of their cars.
Oh, well,
it's how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's why they're there. So anyway, I'm just saying, if I was a mugger or a fellow, right, in Rome, I'd be going, not really up to it today. Those lads, like, they're there. Right, I'm not going to go near anybody. That's what I think, anyway.
Mind you, didn't stop the fellas getting the crown jewels out of the Louvre the other day.
Yeah,
that was pretty extraordinary.
That was
pretty
insane.
daring.
I think all the French. I mean, nowadays everybody's so afraid of going near each other that actually anybody can just walk into a bank and steal the money because people will go, well, I'm not getting involved in that over there. That's their business. And you're like, yeah, get out of the way there. I'm just taking all the cash. Oh, but listen, who am I to go talk to you? You know.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't even look at somebody in traffic. You know, you might be politely kind of letting them out in front of you now. Just say, what are you looking at?
I know.
Anyway,
come here. So the lyrics, the thing, right?
Yes, sorry.
You started with Pat, and you did all these songs, and I love it.
Just edit out everything.
I listen to it all the time. So then, you ended up putting it on stage in the National Concert Hall, and that sold out, didn't it?
It did last May.
Was it a good night?
It was a brilliant night. I can tell you. I can safely say that now because it was the first time I've played in the concert hall many times, but it was the first time doing my own thing from scratch, and it's selling. Do you know what I mean? And even the joy of
it was Paul Harrington performing the lyrics to the thing live in the concert hall.
Exactly. Well, nice. Pat came on and he introduced everything. We had a little chat at the start, which was nice. And
he's brilliant, isn't he, Pat?
Isn't he? Apart from being brilliant, he's for
those of you again. I often forget about the listeners. Guys. Pat Kenny, right? One of them RTA. Right.
He's gone from there.
He's gone from there a long time ago, right? Well, I could tell you, because I am been in the industry 30 years, that Pat Kenny is one of the liked ones. And he's one of the good ones.
And all round, no matter where
Total
you go.
pro, really decent. And he's not a fawner or anything.
No.
He's not a plumosser.
No,
he just is Pat.
He'll
and
ask
he's decent.
And if he has to ask me the hard question, he will. And that's fine.
Yeah, he has principles, and he's good.
Oh, brilliant! And again, he was got very much behind this, and we look. What it is it's basically obviously the chat and the story behind the song. What I've done is I've kind of basically I go in through all of my old scripts, and I read everything on the night because I'd leave nothing to memory or chance. And at one point I was going to do away with my folders and stuff, and somebody said to me, no, don't, that's lovely, that's like storytelling, you're turning pages. So it's myself, Graham Murphy, and then I have additional guests. I embellish it, but what I do is I try not to I don't let people know what's good. They're all classic songs that you know and love, but it's me doing them. But so in a way, you're kind of coming to see me, but you're also coming to see loads of artists.
Oh, you are.
You know, so and I try just to build up the story, and then as soon as we play the first note, people say, that's the one he's talking about. And we did, there was something I found really interesting was we did a song called Nobody Knows, written by Paul Brady.
Beautiful song.
And Paul was there on the night. And I was chatting with him afterwards, and he kind of, this is roughly what he was saying. He was saying, God, it was interesting. It was great, but it was interesting. He said, I'm almost looking at my own song in a different light now, you know? And I thought that was an achievement in itself.
Lovely. You interpreted it. As an interpretative artist, that's you did your business.
And talk and, and the way I set it up. Yeah. And I think it's because I'm kind of saying to people, look, I'm pretty much doing what I was doing for donkey's years. I've just reframed it.
Yeah.
That said, one of the bonuses of all of this was that I didn't really realize that I got pretty good at writing, and that's because I write everything for for the shows, for the inserts, and so that's become a joy.
Paul Brady wrote one of my favorite songs of all time. Nothing But the Same Old Story.
Oh yeah, that's classic, an absolute classic.
Yeah, this is when he writes about the idea of a young man going abroad to work on the building sites in London in the 80s and what it felt like to be a man walking into a country where you knew everybody hated you and everybody thought that you were nothing but a bunch of murderers.
Yeah, wow.
And how he speaks in the song about he makes some London friends. He's kind of taken in by them, but they bring him around to their little parties. And just when he thinks that he's becoming friends with them, he realizes they're just bringing him around to a party like a dressed up monkey in a cage. They go, here's our Irish friend. Yeah. And they asked me to play the accordion. And they set me up like a monkey, and then at the end of the night, they'll go, you're nothing but a bunch of murderers. Yeah. That's what they're thinking in their head. It's beautiful, beautiful,
he's
beautiful
incredible.
song.
He's incredible. I mean, I was really, I know him over the years, and obviously we're not friends, but I would meet him and I really, I would admire his work. And even like, what was great was I don't often get the chance to talk to somebody about a song before I go and do it. And this was, I was able to call him and say, can you give me a bit of background as to where it all came from? Yeah. And it was a fantastic.
So this is the story nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a touching upon it. I suppose in the context of me saying that I wasn't, that I don't, most of the songs I can't access the writers, I mean, in certain cases, recently I was in touch with a fellow called Jack Tempchin who wrote Peaceful Easy Feeling and The One You Love. Glenn Fry wrote with him and stuff like that. And so I can kind of contact him. But I was chatting to Paul about it because I had no idea, like, that Ruby, for example, was Jack Ruby. I had no idea who shot Lee Harvey Oswald, who shot John F. Kennedy, or did he? No, because nobody knows, but, he started telling me like that the general thrust of the song is how different life turns out as it unfurls, as opposed to, the way you might imagine it. And now the next bit I didn't see coming at all. Paul, he was talking about one of the images in his mind that fed into the narrative of this song was the outrageousness of the Beatles standing on top of the Apple building, absolutely certain that the world was going to listen. But Paul had this alternative image of someone with perhaps the same expectations rising up to the top of a building full of hope and peering over the side and nobody's there, and, that's like that image that it conjures up, that lovely part of the song where nobody's there, this guy, poor guy, and how life can often not be what it seems. I mean, look, I was chatting to my wife.
Do you mean he's singing there about disappointment?
Well, not even so much disappointment, but just expectations. I mean, again, maybe it is disappointment, but I mean, look, if we all go through life, with the rose tinted glasses, but not really, you could be disappointed a dozen times a day.
I was at a tribute night actually to an 80th birthday party for John McColgan, the creator of Riverdance, one of the creators of Riverdance with Moya. And Paul was there and he sang The Hills of Donegal, but he also sang The Island. And incredible. The Island still remains timeless,
Yeah, it's incredible piece.
Especially when you think about Northern Ireland, but the Northern Ireland thing is sort of, a bit more fixed. Yeah. But then you think about Palestine and that's part of the world, and it's just the same,
I mean, that's unbearable to listen to. I mean, I would drift off with a bit of radio in my ear at night time, but I mean, I've had to stop. I've had, it's too affecting, and just especially when it's getting into the kids thing. And I do have a grown up lad, Daniel, living in London, and who doing very well for himself, but as I say, I'm revisiting that now with my 6-year-old. That protecting the young, the young child. And when you hear of the crazy, I mean, look, possibly it's a lot to do with my own background and kind of a succession of bereavements and traumas over quite a compressed period of time that I could be a bit of a catastrophist. I mean, I could be that bloke. I can be the fella in the playground, setting up a net under the monkey bars, just in case my little one falls, But I'm working through that now, which is great. I mean, because, she's having faith in me, having faith in her, and I'm, very lucky man, by the way. You know yourself. It's a joy.
It is,
but it's like no other feeling. It's like no other. But it's also like no other responsibility. And I suppose that's why I'm saying in the context of what goes on in the world. I mean, I find it makes me fear more, and I always feel, and I fight this because I always feel whatever I die of, I don't want to be scared to death. I want to live as full a life as I can. And I don't mean that I have to ski every week, or whatever, but just to be present and to be. And I feel, quite frankly, I had a bad year last year. Almost died because, and thanks to my wife, I'm still here.
What happened to
you? I'd make it as short as I can. I was knocked out by an Achilles rupture in the playground. No, I wasn't playing. I was ducking out of the way of a kid running at me, and it snapped. And so I was out of action for months with that. But I was I had this really cumbersome boot, and the thing is, it was kind of a pointless thing. It was just like having a weight. It was like the butterfly in the diving bell, and so therefore I was really immobilized. And the reason why I say this is because I had the same injury 20 odd years ago when I was out touring with Michael Flatley. Long story, but back then they put me in plaster, and they put me on a blood thinner for 6 months. And consequently, with the plaster, I was way more mobile. And of course, I had the precaution of the blood thinner. No such thing this time. So, sitting up on the side of the bed, there was my wife sitting on the windowsill, two friends of ours, Bernie and Carl, sitting in two little chairs. We were having a glass of wine, and I just started clutching my chest and shooting pain through my teeth. And they were kind of saying, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I can't really breathe, but it should be okay." And I kind of sat at the side of the bed and I said, "No, this is getting worse." And then Carl looked at me, she said, "Will I call an ambulance?" And she did right there and then. And only that it was a blood clot that went into my heart.
Was it a cardiac arrest or
no? It was an
embolism,
pulmonary embolism. Yeah, hard to say. But so that's when
great name for a song.
Yeah, pulmonary embolism.
Pulmonary embolism.
Yeah.
That would be really that. You have to do that. Here we are now with Paul Harrington. Paul Harrington, a good friend of mine, and the show that lyrics the thing. And this is about a clot in Paul's artery. Yeah. It's called pulmonary embolism.
As the fella says, the clot thickens. Unfortunately, but that's that was the truth of it. We got into resuscitation in the matter there, and it was a nightmare. And they kind of came out and said, "Look, the good news is you didn't have a heart attack." I said, "Okay," and I'm green in the face. And I said, "But we suspect it's a rather big clot." But so it was literally.
So that's way better than a heart attack, because heart attacks to me sounds like it's systemic, that you've got a problem with your tubes, if you like.
Yeah, and you would, but
your health in general.
Well, the clot.
So the clot is only a thing that can happen.
It generally kills you.
The clot,
because it generally either goes to your.
How did the clot happen then?
Well, from the immobility, you see. So it gathered here, right behind my leg, and then a large piece of it broke off. Travels up.
Immobility causes can lead to this thing.
This was my argument. I having had great care by many different people in the hospital, I still find it frustrating the lack of joined up and connected care. And it's something I just thought about. I'm sure it may be regarded as best practice now to put you into a boot. But the fact that in an Achilles injury is not weight bearing for a minimum of 3 months.
Yeah.
So the boot is pointless.
Yeah.
It only serves to immobilize you more.
Just for the purposes of drama for my listeners.
Sure.
Did you nearly die?
Oh, I thought I said that. No, I did.
Because I just definitely want to include that because it drags in listeners.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's do that again then. Oh, is that an edit? Is it?
Joking.
Yes, I did. Did I nearly die?
It's no good if you didn't nearly die.
Oh no! Well, listen. Of course I did. Sure. I was. My wife asked the team and said, and she was deeply upset. And in fact, sometimes I get upset thinking about it myself because I can tell you, I remember coming home from hospital, and I was in hospital, and I watched the Paris Olympics were on, and I watched Celine Dion, and I watched whatever it was, and I can tell you, I never cried as hard or as long in my life.
Why?
I was crying for myself. I nearly lost me about a week earlier. Now, little did I know that I still wasn't out of the woods, because each time you talk to I mean, the extraordinary.
So you were crying with relief?
No. Was it relief? Was it? I don't know. Anguish? I don't know.
Yes.
It was just. Well,
you were overwhelmed
by the possibility
dying.
of being
of course,
consigned to history, gone. Because I've one other brother left, Joe. And I've all the rest of my brothers and my sister are all gone. All died at different ages of cancers and.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that
you did mention bereavement.
Yeah,
Jesus, you've had your share of it.
It's look, there was in my family Richard, Robert, Derek, Joe, who is thankfully still with us, Joe of Sunshine.
Yeah.
Then my sister Siobhan, and then me. That's the 6. So there's Joe and myself left. And that's,
my God.
So it kind of, and it's funny. Richard, the eldest, he departed 2 years ago at 77. My sister died at 49. Crazy. I mean, not even getting a look at it. Another brother, 54. Robert, Derek, 66. So it's and these are all people I looked up to. Because I'm the youngest, and.
Yeah,
I was talking to somebody again recently about who was also a youngest in a family, and I was just saying it's a strange experience because you've only ever known older people, and you gravitate to older people, and of course, even as you get older, you always assume everyone else is older than you.
Okay,
but then they're not.
No,
you discover when you're with the policeman is no longer, or the bank manager.
Oh, I got an awful shock when I realised I was older than the Taoiseach. All the people I take the piss out of.
There you go. Well, now you see.
The first time it happened to me was with Leo Varadkar. And I went, for the first time in my life, for the first time, I was older than the guy I was taking the piss out of.
And he was there talking about, I've done so well, all the things I've done for Ireland. And the guys that take the piss out of me are actually older than me now. So.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Well,
because the guy before him, Indy Kinney, he was ancient. So boom, boom.
What age is he?
Oh, he's 103. But anyway, But Mario is great. Boom, boom, up Mayo.
Yeah, Mayo. God help us.
Yeah, but I was younger, and then Pascal's younger as well.
Yeah. I remember Pascal came into this podcast and he says, "How is your wife Blonde? I went to college with her in Trinity."
Oh,
and of course, Blonde's 5 years younger than me.
Wow.
So she was in his class.
Yeah.
And he used to go around with a giant mobile phone, a brick.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, he was the only one in college, apparently, with a mobile phone this size, one of those bricks. And I went, Pascal Donoghue with the mobile phone, was he a yuppie or something? Like, was he sort of one of those, like, go greedy, go get him capitalists? My wife went, no, the only reason he had the mobile phone was to organise all the members of Young Fine Gael. Are you coming to the meeting? So he found that the phone was the best way to be able to get in touch with people. Practical Pascal all the way.
I mean, they're all so young. It's funny you should say that because again, I've been not studying them like you would be, but I mean, my dad was a keen loved the public commentary, and of course, the best you could do was Hall's Pictorial Weekly or something like that in terms of
Ballymagesh.
Yeah, I mean, that was outstandingly good, and the Minister for Difficulty and all that sort of stuff, and
Richie Roon.
Yeah, Richie Roon. Yeah. Don, I remember when they changed the fiver. Was it? They had a guy dressed up. Is it Don Scotus? But they were calling him Don Scrotum and all that. The usual nonsense. But I mean, that was
Frank Kelly.
Yeah, Frank Kelly and Eamon Morrissey.
It's brilliant that I've been able to talk to you for so long, and you not even mentioned the Eurovision, and we won't even in a way because what I'd like to talk about the Eurovision is you would change Ireland's Eurovision methodology, would you? Yeah.
Well, let me add as what's the word? Is it a caveat?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I get asked questions about the Eurovision every year as Eurovision comes up, and it's for me, it's kind of whatever I say. It's a little bit like Christmas carols that I have to kind of relearn them every year. So I mean, what I probably said was something about like giving it a new platform, or maybe putting a bit more into it than just having it as
like
part of the
like
late
the Scandinavians would, for example.
Yeah, just put a bit of pizzazz into the whole thing. But having said that, I think last year was the best version of the one on the Late Late Show that I had seen in terms of presentation. But it's make it a bit more. Certainly take it a little bit more seriously, even though it's not necessarily a big serious thing. But take the
go for it a bit more.
Take the entry. Like I don't take myself seriously, but I take what I do seriously.
Of course. What's your favorite Eurovision song of all time?
Oh, good God! I loved it. Hold Me Now. It's just this. It's got something very special about it for me.
Yeah.
There was an energy in that because coming back for him to win it a second time was extraordinary. I mean, that was like, that was dark art stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, it really was.
I thought What's Another Year was a beautiful song as well.
That's unbelievable.
A little one-off.
I remember sitting with Shay Healy in a friend's house, Cara Hanaho, at a party, and kind of an evening party, and he was chatting. We got chatting about music, and he said, I'd love to just write one great song before I die, And I said, but what are you talking about? Yeah, that job is done. What's Another Year is a terrific song that he wrote about his dad.
I love that song he did, Stardust, as well.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean that, and in a way, that's kind
of a beautiful song.
It's, you know what? You've just twigged me onto something. Because I remember I did What's Another Year on the Lyrics the Thing on the Tuesday of Shay's funeral.
Yeah.
And it has occurred to me I really should look at that Stardust song.
Yeah, you should, yeah.
It's beautiful.
What about okay, you kind of answered that question then. If I put you on the National Concert Hall now, right, tonight, and the house is full of people who are all looking forward to seeing you, but I'm only allowing you play 2 songs, what are the 2 songs you'll do?
Oh wow, that's
from your Lyrics, the thing that you want. From your oeuvre, if you like, that you play.
So
it's got to be 2, just 2.
Okay, well, the song that I probably haven't done in the show yet is a Commodore's tune called Easy.
Easy, yeah.
Easy
Lionel Richie and Easy.
Yeah, I mean, because and the reason why that would be my first, because I always remember my late brother Robert, who was I played with him in a band called the One Eyed Rattlers many years ago. Texas country, brilliant stuff and comedy, really. But he always said to me, he said, just start off any gig you're doing. Start off with the song, your favorite song that will make you feel relaxed. And that'd be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I'd say off the top of my head, I'd probably do Both Sides Now.
Oh yeah, Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, I'd do those 2 together.
Yeah. Jesus, Both Sides Now. The lyrics of her.
It's incredible. And she wrote that at 21, and she'd been through so much, in her own personal life. People, at the time, she used to get a lot of ribbing, as they'd say. They'd say, well, what would she know about life at 21 years of age? But it transpired she'd been through quite a lot.
Earlier on in the conversation, we were talking about Bob Dylan and that beautiful song, Positively Fourth Seat, sang by Roy Keane, and then we were talking about another song, and now you just have like Joni Mitchell, and she's rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles everywhere and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, and you can all imagine just lying back on the grass, and you're looking up at the clouds, and I suppose metaphorically, a cloud can be a bad thing to see.
Well, it's the beauty of it is that it changes,
but it can also be. She refers to it in the song.
Oh yeah, it can be dark clouds. Yeah.
No, but also clouds can hide the sun.
Yes, yeah,
and that's so clouds can be interpreted as being bad, but they can also be beautiful and fluffy and warm and welcome.
They can hold you back.
Yeah,
and it's ironic. She happened to be looking down at the clouds because she was on an aircraft.
Okay.
At the time, reading a book written by a Canadian writer called, I think, Saul Bellow. And Henderson, the Rain King was the name of the book. Oh. And the protagonist was flying to Africa, or heading to Africa, something like that, and was looking out the window of his aircraft at clouds, and she put the book down and looked out and saw clouds, and then she just started to put down, rows and flows of angel hair, ice cream castles in the air, and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I could have done or should have done, but clouds got in my way. I mean, that's I relate to it because I know the amount of, and as a human being, I know the capacity for us to put obstacles in front of ourselves daily.
We get in our own way.
Yeah.
We do. It's up to freeing ourselves.
Yeah.
I was speaking to Michael Harding last week and just letting go and being acceptance. Having acceptance and just letting things happen. And you can free yourself by letting things happen. Stop trying to control everything.
That's it, because we can't. And it's over in the blink of an eye. Yeah. You know? I mean, even I look at the longest life I've known was, say, my dad at 80 or my 81, you know. And that was over in a flash.
Yeah.
You know.
And finally, Paul, we're going to just mention our mutual friend who was gone 10 years this time.
Speaking of over in a flash.
Tony Fenton.
Tony Fenton.
The dude. Don't duplicate the dude.
No.
And he was gone. And of course, just that memory that abides with me of his funeral in Donnybrook. And I'm giving one of the eulogies at the funeral because Tony was a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, I remember.
And up through the middle of the funeral hall, I see this very familiar figure walking in, and of course it's Bono, with the other members of U2 coming up to sit down, and then later in the funeral they will play for Tony.
Yeah,
and you were the musician at the funeral, and you did this amazing version of a lovely version, and it's from Abbey Road,
Golden Slumbers.
Yeah,
and into Long and Winding Road.
Winding Road, Golden Slumbers, and boy, that
it's
so moving.
Tony asked. Whoever he asked within the family, would I put the music together? And again, this was a thing where I think it was I think the day was Thursday when Tony died, and I was concerned that there wouldn't be time, and I said, well, I'll do what I can depending on what day the funeral was going to be, and I think it was Monday from what I can remember. But it was I remember at the time Tony didn't say to me, but he wanted the Dublin Gospel Choir. That was that, and so I got in touch with them, and they said, yeah, absolutely, when we'll do that, and they were delighted to do it. And then I'd asked a friend of mine, Bill Shanley, to help me out, and we'd and so I just thought. I knew Sharon Callally, who worked with Principal Management all those years ago, and she'd moved on, but she gave me the name of a contact, and I dropped an email just to say that Tony had died, and also to an extended invitation to Bono or to the band, and. So then they came back. She came back to me to say, "Well, look, Bono said, would it be okay if himself and the Edge did something, And I said, that would be incredible. And then she came back to say, well, actually, the whole band would like to do something. So I said, well, listen, don't let me get in your way. Is there anything we could do to facilitate? So
I know.
So
I think I even cracked some gag that, Tony would just be laughing, knowing that he's one of the only dead people that could get U2 to come to a church and just play for him, and then they did, and you played as well, and again your version of Golden Slumbers and Long and Winding Road, because that is again with the Beatles, they surprise you sometimes. I mean, sometimes they're so predictably brilliant.
Yeah,
like you think something like "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or "She Loves You." Yeah.
They're if you look at them closely, I mean, they are seriously complex. They are, though they sound simple.
Yeah,
there's rhythms and things going on there that are the mind boggles.
I think "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or "She Loves You," one of those is one of the last songs, believe it or not, that Paul and John actively wrote together.
Okay,
that it was very early days that they stopped doing that.
Yeah, but they
literally they sat on a bed opposite each other. And they would shout the next line.
Wow.
Whereas that stopped. And then, later songs like that beautiful Day in the Life thing, like they chop it up in half and they'd hand each other, they'd go off and do that bit and I'll go off.
Yeah.
And other times they'd come back with a fully arranged song and the other guy would help them just arrange it or play something in the background.
And it became
Lennon McCartney. Everything was Lennon McCartney. But they'd surprise you though then, because they'd come out with something so bloody unusual.
And they really are. I mean, it's
Golden Slumbers into Long and Winding Road is haunting.
Yeah, You've got the little piece. I think I only slightly touched on an instrumental part of it. Is the "You Never Give Me Your Money." You know what? I can't remember. Then it goes.
Music.
Exactly. Yeah, and then into the weight, isn't it? Or is it
Carry the weight?
Carry the weight. Yeah. I always.
It's extraordinary, though. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's again. I'm not as well versed. I mean, if I was 15 or 16 or 17 in here with you now, I would have been looking at Beatles albums and looking at records, and of course, I rarely bought anything for myself because all my older brothers bought everything.
Great,
I didn't have to buy anything. It was all singles and 45s and albums.
I just always think of those moments though, where I know it probably was normal for them, but like they're in studio and Paul comes in one day, let's say. And John is there over there and says, I just wanted to show you something. And John is there. Okay, off you go. Your man goes, "Hey, Jude."
I know.
And you're just going, what?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's. I mean,
what do you think? What do you think?
Well, it's you just know. I mean, I worked with fellas years ago. I gave up trying to write songs because I just wasn't good at it. You know, and I realised that. Hang on a second, and you know.
But Elton John can't write.
We can write a good tune,
yes, but not the words.
No, although my least favourite is that Circle of Life thing or whatever.
Yeah, I know. But Elton doesn't write. He's just he comes up with these amazing.
Well, he writes
tunes.
music. Yeah,
he writes the music.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing music.
Well, I mean, things like Your Song is pretty spectacular.
It is.
Or Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I mean, they're all pretty phenomenal.
Oh, they are. But he's getting the words off
from
another
Bernie.
guy.
Yeah, Bernie. I mean, again,
they used to arrive in a letterbox.
Yeah. I mean, that was another, a movie I enjoyed. The concept was the sliding doors, and you get it. You walk, you turn left instead of right, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And that was literally that. Elton saying, or Reg saying, "You just take from one of the pile over there.
Yeah,
take a brown envelope with the lyrics.
That's it.
I mean, he could have taken mine.
No, but that's good. That's fine. It's the same as saying to a group of filmmakers, just do a film where you're constrained though. There has to be guitars in it, butterflies, and a man called Pygmalion. They still make a great movie.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You can't stop the creativity.
Yeah, true.
In fact, sometimes constraint makes it even better.
I've heard more kind of successful mediocre songs being successful with good people around them, as opposed to the other way around. I mean, a great song not being presented well does. Often so many songs that almost didn't make it because of.
Well, here's one for you. We finish with this actually because I could talk to you about this all day. We could have another conversation. Do you know what I mean? Do you know that kind of thing?
I am happy to do that.
We could go off on another tangent.
Can I plug something?
Plug the gig.
Listen, that's a good point because just to say that we're bringing back the Lyrics to the Thing live.
Yes.
So
I gave you umpteen opportunities.
You did. So my apologies. Hopefully you can edit this.
I was setting you up. I was giving you the pass.
But that's how self-effacing I am. But it's I'm going one step further this time. I'm going to the Cork Opera House in April, Wednesday, the 8th of April. Tickets are now on sale there at Cork. Yes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in the intro.
Okay, brilliant.
So I'm going to put that information in the intro.
You'll do that anyway.
I'm going to put it in the intro now.
Okay.
To make sure that people know. So what is it, Wednesday the 8th?
So it's Wednesday the 8th of April in the Cork Opera House, corkoperahouse.ie for tickets. And then Wednesday the 13th of May, National Concert Hall. Yeah. Tickets available, nch.ie. I will be turning 66 that day, May 13th.
Will Pat Kenny be there?
He will. He certainly will. And
will you promise... Just to make him say, you have to make him say pulmonary embolism.
I will do my level best.
He's just got over from his pulmonary embolism. Embolismo pulmonissery.
Wasn't there something that it sounds very familiar, very similar to something from Spinal Tap, a song that was something to do with, there was pumps involved.
Pump. Well, no, but things like words like pulmonary embolism make great parody song names.
But it's brilliant. I can't say it. I mean, if you ask me to say it again, I won't.
Here's Herniated Disc with their new song.
Oh God!
Thanks, Paul.
Let me out before we get myself in trouble. That's my weekly gig.
Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, Paul.
And my thanks to Paul Harrington for coming in and being my guest on the Mario Rosenstock podcast. Don't forget to check out The Lyrics the Thing live in the Opera House on Wednesday, April 8th, and live in the National Concert Hall on May the 13th. I will be there. You should be there. I think Pat Kenny is usually there presenting Paul as well. It's usually a great night. Until then, next time, same place, next week. Take it easy.
The Mario Rosenstock Podcast with On Ice, Ireland's premium ice skating experience, where winter memories are made. Visit onice.ie.
GoLoud. Sounds better with us.